New vocabulary. Types of residence and housing design styles. 1. Types of residence.
Shelter, shelter. House, house. Housing, housing. My home, my home. Villas, villas. Mansion, mansion. Palace, palace. Castle, castle. Condominium, condominium. High-rise apartment, high-rise apartment. Flat, flat. Serviced apartment, serviced apartment. Student housing, student housing. Rural hostels, rural hostels. House barn, house barn. Storehouse, storehouse. Stable, stable. Farmstead, farmstead. Small country house, small country house. Straw hut, straw hut. Hut, hut. Yurt, yurt. Wigwam, wigwam. Teepee, teepee. Igloo, igloo. One-story thatch-roofed huts, one-story thatch-roofed huts. Traditional stilt house, traditional stilt house. Pile dwelling, pile dwelling. Isba, isba. Adobe house, adobe house. Residential area, residential area. Residential street, residential street. Tract housing, tract housing. Street house, street house. Road house, road house. Townhouse, townhouse. Adjoining house, adjoining house. Semi-detached cottage, semi-detached cottage. Temporary residence, temporary residence. Temporary and easy to set up shelter, temporary and easy to set up shelter. Holiday home, holiday home. Seacoast vacation houses, seacoast vacation houses. Seaside holiday home, seaside holiday home. Summer homes, summer homes. Resort, resort. Bungalow, bungalow. A form of mainly high-end tourist, a form of mainly high-end tourist. Iron bungalows, iron bungalows. Hotel, hotel. Motel, motel. Fleabag motel, fleabag motel. Roach motel, roach motel. Stay in a hotel, stay in a hotel. A bed and breakfast, a bed and breakfast. A youth hostel, a youth hostel. A villa for rent, a villa for rent. Homestay, homestay. A holiday home, a holiday home. A caravan, a caravan.
2. Types of housing.
Single-story wooden homesteads, single-story wooden homesteads. One-story house, one-story house. Two-story house, two-story house. Two up, two down, two up, two down. Single floor living. Single floor living. Split level. Split level. Uses space efficiently. Uses space efficiently. Single unit. Single unit. Single family homes. Single family homes. Single family unit. Single family unit. Housing for the middle class. Housing for the middle class. Prodigy houses. Prodigy houses. More humble dwellings. More humble dwellings. Single story living. Single story living. Architectural vocabulary. Architectural vocabulary. Architecture and decor, home builders and interior decorators. Architecture and decor, home builders and interior decorators. Style. Style. Movement. Movement.
Avant-garde movement. Avant-garde movement.
Informal X-styles. Informal X-styles. Extremely popular style. Extremely popular style. Ordinary. Ordinary. Slipshod. Slipshod. Personal style. Personal style. The colorist movement. The colorist movement. Pop culture staple. Pop culture staple. Architectural vernacular. Architectural vernacular. Domestic architectural style. Domestic architectural style. Suburban domestic ideal. Suburban domestic ideal. 3 American indigenous styles: shingle, prairie, craftsman. 3 American indigenous styles: shingle, prairie, craftsman. Very informal and casual living style. Very informal and casual living style.
3. Popular residential architecture styles.
A-frame, A-frame. Adobe, Adobe. Stucco, Stucco. Pueblo, Pueblo. Antebellum, Antebellum. Art and craft, Art and craft. Beaux-Arts, Beaux-Arts. Bungalow, Bungalow. Cape Cod, Cape Cod. Coastal, Coastal. Beach House, Beach House. Colonial Revival, Colonial Revival. Contemporary, Contemporary. Cottage, Cottage. Country, Country. Classical, Classical. Craftsman, Craftsman. Farmhouse, Farmhouse. Folk, Folk. Traditional, Traditional. Georgian, Georgian. Greek Ancient, Greek Ancient. Italianate, Italianate. Tuscan, Tuscan. International Style, International Style. Late Gothic, Late Gothic. English Perpendicular Gothic, English Perpendicular Gothic. Logs Cabin, Logs Cabin. Lodge House, Lodge House. Mediterranean, Mediterranean. Mission Revival, Mission Revival. Mountain, Mountain. Stilt House, Stilt House. Wooden Logs, Wooden Logs. National Style, National Style. Painted Ladies, Painted Ladies. Picturesque, Picturesque. Prairie, Prairie. Queen Anne, Queen Anne. Ranch, Ranch. Red brick, Red brick. Rustic, Rustic. Semi-rustic, Semi-rustic. Modern rustic, modern, rustic. Saltbox, saltbox. Second Empire, Second Empire. Mansard roof, mansard roof. Shingle, shingle. Stick, stick. East Lake, East Lake. Tutor, tutor. Revive, tutor, revive, tutor. Mock tutor, mock tutor. Victorian, Victorian.
4. Design tricks.
Simple, simple. Humble, humble. Rustic but stylish, rustic but stylish. Unpretentious, unpretentious. Sleekness, sleekness. Elegant, elegant. Embellished, embellished. Modern flair, modern flair. Fresh and trendy, fresh and trendy. Pretty, pretty. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Stunning, stunning. Flamboyant, flamboyant. Brightly colored edifices, brightly colored edifices. Luxury and comfort, luxury and comfort. Over-opulence, over-opulence. Formal nature, formal nature. Lavish, lavish. Incredibly regal, incredibly regal. Regal air, regal air. Dramatic, dramatic. Sense of adventure, sense of adventure. Little distressed, little distressed. Stuffy, stuffy. Much warmer, much warmer. Fanciful mix, fanciful mix. Ornate embellishments, ornate embellishments. Approachable and relaxed, approachable and relaxed. Hold a strong emphasis on individuality, hold a strong emphasis on individuality. Highly conceptual forms and designs, highly conceptual forms and designs. The subtle beauty of texture and connection, the subtle beauty of texture and connection. Maintaining the traditionally appealing qualities of refuge, retreat, and connection to nature. Maintaining the traditionally appealing qualities of refuge, retreat, and connection to nature. With design tweaks from, with design tweaks from. Beautiful complement to the surrounding nature, beautiful complement to the surrounding nature.
5. How to find out. Clues of architectural style.
Clues for this style. Clues for this style. Define the look of the era. Define the look of the era. An example of the best of design during the time. An example of the best of design during the time. As the times change, so do the elements that people choose to incorporate into architecture. As the times change, so do the elements that people choose to incorporate into architecture. Understanding the various elements of architectural influences and style is important. Understanding the various elements of architectural influences and style is important. The combination of elements is what makes it possible to differentiate between the various categories of architectural styles. The combination of elements is what makes it possible to differentiate between the various categories of architectural styles. The elements of architectural style: building materials, age, structure, design, location. The elements of architectural style: building materials, age, structure, design, location. Old structures are physical representations of the past and can teach us about how people lived and what they valued at the time the buildings were constructed. Old structures are physical representations of the past and can teach us about how people lived and what they valued at the time the buildings were constructed.
6. Compliance with architectural styles.
Keeping in line with the principles. Keeping in line with the principles. Adheres to the purest forms of contemporary architecture. Adheres to the purest forms of contemporary architecture. Last sustained period. Last sustained period. Reinterpretation European Gothic Revival architecture. Reinterpretation European Gothic Revival architecture. Elements provided the impetus. Elements provided the impetus. Emulation. Emulation. Preserving architectural styles. Preserving architectural styles. Preservation of historic architecture goes beyond physical restoration. It involves raising awareness and engaging the public. Preservation of historic architecture goes beyond physical restoration. It involves raising awareness and engaging the public.
7. Change in architectural style.
Interest in the style. Interest in the style. Revival. Revival. It is having a revival. It is having a revival. Imitated. Imitated. Is becoming popular again. Is becoming popular again. Traditional version. Traditional version. Endured through the test of time. Endured through the test of time. Preservationist movements. Preservationist movements. Eclectic. Eclectic. Neo. Neo. Neoclassical. Neoclassical. Neo-eclectic. Neo-eclectic. Shared. Shared. Reinvented the style. Reinvented the style. Set a new standard. Set a new standard. Modern-day reinventions. Modern-day reinventions. Modernist flair. Modernist flair. Broken the mold. Broken the mold. Careful recreations. Careful recreations. Dominant architectural style. Dominant architectural style. Direct opposition. Direct opposition. Borrowing and blending elements of earlier building styles to create a variation of the original that is more in keeping with the times. Borrowing and blending elements of earlier building styles to create a variation of the original that is more in keeping with the times. A new architectural style was thus created which, although also characterized as Neo-Renaissance, belongs essentially to its current period. A new architectural style was thus created which, although also characterized as Neo-Renaissance, belongs essentially to its current period. Painted ladies have evolved over the years, symbolizing both artistic expression and creative impulse. Painted ladies have evolved over the years, symbolizing both artistic expression and creative impulse. The Italianate style is a distinct 19th century period of the history of classical architecture. The Italianate style is a distinct 19th century period of the history of classical architecture. In the Italianate style, the architectural patterns and vocabulary of 16th century Italian Renaissance architecture served as inspiration inherited from Palladianism and Neoclassicism, synthesized with the aesthetics of the picturesque style. In the Italianate style, the architectural patterns and vocabulary of 16th century Italian Renaissance architecture served as inspiration inherited from Palladianism and Neoclassicism, synthesized with the aesthetics of the picturesque style.
8. Some techniques of transformation. Borrow details.
Accentuate with borrow details. Accentuate with borrow details. Accented. Accented. Accented by. Accented by. More prominent. More prominent. Emphasize. Emphasize. Dominated by. Dominated by. Flanked by. Flanked by. Adorned with. Adorned with. Surrounded by. Surrounded by. Sets a nice foreground. Sets a nice foreground. To contrast. To contrast. Augmented by. Augmented by. To highlight. To highlight. Puts more emphasis on. puts more emphasis on. Serve to brighten further. Serve to brighten further. Is paired with. Is paired with. Complemented by. Complemented by. Complementing. Complementing. Details borrowed. Details borrowed. Seamlessly blend together. Seamlessly blend together. Matching. Matching. Glorious mismatch. Glorious mismatch. The great break. The great break. Hint at, but do not reproduce. Hint at, but do not reproduce. Historical and traditional decoration. Historical and traditional decoration. Barred their style cues. Barred their style cues. Full complement of the style's features. Full complement of the style's features. Add extra style. Add extra style. Individual custom houses. Individual custom houses. Customizable. Customizable. Adaptable. Adaptable. Embellish. Embellish. Enhance. Enhance. Boast polychromal color treatment. Boast polychromal color treatment. Expansive windows capture views. Expansive windows capture views. Natural materials echo with a sense of place. Natural materials echo with a sense of place. Each house wraps elegantly into its location. Each house wraps elegantly into its location. Showcases more. Showcases more. To be supported by. To be supported by. Offer. Offer. Apply to. Apply to. Bring in an abundance of natural lighting. Bring in an abundance of natural lighting. For a bit of warmth. For a bit of warmth. Contemporary vibe. Contemporary vibe. New techniques of computer-aided design. New techniques of computer-aided design.
9. Stylish stream.
Stream. Stream. Genesis of the style. Genesis of the style. Originated from. Originated from. Pioneered. Pioneered. Paved the way for the popular. Paved the way for the popular. Predecessor. Predecessor. Immediate ancestors. Immediate ancestors. Developed organically over the centuries. Developed organically over the centuries. Hard to pin down because it always evolving to fit a modern context. Hard to pin down because it always evolving to fit a modern context. Subsequent styles of architecture. Subsequent styles of architecture. Reflect the architecture of today. Reflect the architecture of today. Ever-evolving architectural styles. Ever-evolving architectural styles. Really the last hurrah for this era that spans several decades. Really the last hurrah for this era that spans several decades. Pop culture staple. Pop culture staple. Widely popularized rebirth. Widely popularized rebirth. Widen the appreciation. Widen the appreciation. Coincided. Coincided.
Appendix 1. What is architectural style? When you drive through different parts of town or travel to new places, you've probably noticed that there are a lot of different types of homes and buildings. One street may be filled with historic Victorian-style homes, and the next block could be modern high-rises. As the times change, so do the elements that people choose to incorporate into architecture. Traveling through a city or town can often be like looking in a time capsule, because it can show us how buildings and structures have evolved over time. Understanding the various elements of architectural influences and style is a great way to better understand both the structures in your own hometown and the most grandiose structures around the world. A. What is architectural style? Let's start with the basics. What, exactly, is architectural style? Architectural style is defined as a set of characteristics and features that make a building or other structure notable or historically identifiable. Though specific elements may carry over into various styles, each specific architectural style includes a unique combination of elements such as form, aesthetics, method of construction, building materials, and regional character. The combination of elements is what makes it possible to differentiate between the various categories of architectural styles. B. What are the elements of architectural style? There are a lot of different elements that contribute to the architectural style of a structure. Building materials. Historically, the materials used to build structures were whatever materials were abundant in the area. Wood, brick, and stone were the most common building materials for thousands of years. As technology advanced, other types of building materials became popular, like steel, glass, and concrete. Better technology also created steadier materials that could be used to build taller buildings. Understanding what materials were used to build a structure can give you a lot of clues about its architectural style. Age. The time in which a structure was built is another key component of architectural style. This is especially important because many elements of architecture tend to go in and out of style. So, two buildings may appear to have a similar style, but if they were built in different eras, they likely have subtle but important differences. For example, a building that was built in Rome between 850 BC and 500 AD would likely be an example of classical architecture, like the Roman Colosseum. However, a similar style building that was built later may be an example of neoclassical or Renaissance styles of architecture. Knowing the age and context of when a building was designed and built is an important piece of the puzzle when it comes to understanding architectural style. Structure design. The design aesthetics of a structure are essential to its style. The design of a structure includes understanding elements such as line, color, shape, mass, space, texture, and more. A classical building will be designed with absolute symmetry and strict mathematical principles, as opposed to a Gothic structure that features elaborate details like pointed arches and ornate decorations. Every style of architecture has key features and components that define that particular style. Understanding how the individual design elements contribute to the structure is crucial to connecting with the architectural style of the building. Location. Where a building is located has a significant effect on architectural style. To be effective, a building design must take into account location-based factors such as climate, geography, topography, site features, and more. In order to create a safe and long-lasting structure, it's imperative for architects to have an intimate understanding of the location where a building will be built. A building that is in a swampy area will require a much different design than one being built in a rocky area. Structure designs must account for local weather conditions, potential natural disasters, and more. Buildings should also be created to take advantage of naturally occurring features like natural light, spectacular views, and other elements. In addition to physical attributes, the social and cultural norms of the location must also be considered in order for the final structure to be useful in its purpose. In some cultures, the direction a building faces or the number of floors it is can be culturally significant, so it's vital that designers understand not only the land, but also the people for whom they're designing. See, why is architectural style important? Buildings can stand for hundreds, or even thousands, of years. Old structures are physical representations of the past and can teach us about how people lived and what they valued at the time the buildings were constructed. We can use architectural style in new buildings to indicate what's important to us now, such as by using sustainable materials that are better for the planet, or by incorporating a lot of windows to bring in the most amount of natural light. In addition to providing context about the world at large, architectural style can also provide beauty and aesthetics to functional spaces. As humans, we spend a lot of time indoors, and having beautifully designed spaces in our homes and workplaces can add a lot of value to those places. A building where people want to spend their time offers much more value than just walls and ceilings. What are your favorite architectural elements? Do you prefer historical designs or contemporary structures? Appendix 2, 5 Points of Architecture of Le Corbusier.
1. Lift the building over pilatus. The ground floor of the house, like the street, belongs to the automobile. Therefore, housing is raised on pilatus to allow the vehicle's movement or the green continuity. 2. Free designing of the ground plan, free plan. A building floor plan should be free from structural condition, so partitions can be organized in any way. 3. The free facade. The structure separates from the facade, relieving it of its structural function. 4. The horizontal window, ribbon window. The facade can be cut along its entire length to allow room to be lit equally. 5. The roof garden. A building should give back the space it takes up on the ground by replacing it with a garden in the sky.